some of the dilemmas?
See, one, I have already given you examples. One is the annual performance rating is not useful. You must give feedback to the employees on a regular basis, weekly, monthly.
What could be the regular intervals?
But
You want to give feedback to your employees regularly. What could be the interval period? Periodicity? Every week? Every month?
it depends.
Every 3 months? 6 months?
It depends on the organization.
Yeah. So quite a few companies have actually moved to a quarterly system rather than have annual feedback. Two reasons for it. One, they have already have established a good mechanism.
See, that is good for which is an established company, which has the processes. But there are many mid-sized companies. They are grappling with an issue that how do we meet the expectation of employees, and at the same time they have other management issues. There are small sector, there is a mid-sized sector where how do you address that?
In fact, it's a bigger problem for small and mid-sized because retaining talent is a bigger challenge for
आपका 2 आदमी तो फीडबैक पे ही लगा रहेगा. Feedback is important.
Again, that leads to another fallacy, that performance management system right? It's not the solution for every problem that an organization has. You need to have a multi-pronged approach to this, to work towards it very clearly. But if it has to be impactful, I agree, people don't have the tenacity to wait for it. And actually it will surprise me if we wait for the year and obviously all sorts of
So year-end appraisal brings biases. You want to say that?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Data says there are all sorts of data that come.
People have a short memory.
Absolutely.
And they start remembering, if you have a appraisal in April, they start remembering from December.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been told many times, I've seen also many people working really hard to some problems.
So that brings me to another aspect. How do we bring fairness in PLS? Vishwaji, how do we bring fairness? It has to look open, transparent, and in practice.
See, first and foremost, you have to be very clear what you are using PLS for. Is it for rating, for accountability, for reward, or is it actually for performance? You have validated a performance management system. Is it really to enhance performance, or to actually put it in brackets so that you are more comfortable and your conscience doesn't hurt you so much in asking some people to go and giving some people some reward? To my mind, performance management system, if at all it is to be there, should be meant to boost performance. I mean, I think that is not a rocket science.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, again, I will go back to HR professionals. I hold them responsible for not being PMS, transparent.
You are HR professionals?
Yeah, 2 of them are here. Yeah. So this message is specifically for them. So, one reason is very simple because
So this is very open and transparent feedback you are giving.
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
No doubt about that. 2 reasons: line managers and the employees generally they don't come from with the HR background. They would not know anything about this. So I think it is HR's responsibility really to kind of understand, assimilate, and then communicate, train why we are doing this, what are the objectives. I have seen HR professionals failing many times in doing this and creating problems later on, leading to firefighting. Sorry, but well.
My question was if you observe it, what did you do?
So, no. So actually, it's becomes part of job. There are many other issues. So this also becomes part of your job. Actually, like part of business.
And in some cases, if HR is not empowered to take decisions, in case the HR is there, but HR is not empowered to take decisions.
You have to give power to give 100% increment to your fellows. That's what he says.
I agree, but I can't talk about, I think you have to talk to HR people. I know.
Vishali?
No, I think that is an excuse. HR is not empowered because
HR is powerful.
Yeah, because HR, if it wants to, they can
hire and they can fire also.
They can assume that power. No, that is not an issue at all.
Okay.
But the issue is that lack of seriousness about the system. One reason, as was said, 1 year is too long a time. And that's what Professor Pingle, when he was quoting Deloitte, they are doing weekly checking. You ask, should it be weekly, monthly, yearly? they are doing, I am not saying that it is the best, I don't know. But they are doing weekly checking because they found that 2 million hours which they spent for this appraisal system, out of that, 90% goes in bosses talking to each other about the employee rather than people talking to the employee about himself. That's why they wrote.
I have a couple of questions on PMS. How PMS helps in managing talent retention? Many companies use this as managing talent and retention. So what are your views on this? Because a lot of budding professionals would like to know that how this important tool can be used. Because finally it is the people. It is the
See, as far as talent management is concerned,
Mr. Vikram has said you don't need talent. Still you are saying you will need it. He said you don't need talent manager.
no, what I am saying is, PMS in isolation will not work. One is your vertical integration, second is you have to align other HR subsystems with PM. Okay,
This is a very important point.
Yeah, because
You have to align other HR subsystems.
it is very important. For example, this has happened with my student. He was a topper in the selection process, and at the end of the year, he was told that you are a misfit. So there is a mismatch between your recruitment and selection and performance management. Your recruitment focuses on CGPA, and performance management focuses on creativity. So PMS in isolation will not work. So that's the point I want to make.
Okay.
And one addition to what Professor Pigla has mentioned, it is not about other systems have to be aligned. Performance management and other systems need to be in sync with each other.
Sync with each other.
The first principles, as you have started.
Yeah, I think PMS, because God has not created all of us equally, and all of us internally know that we are all different, having different capabilities. So I think PMS system helps employees understand actually, their contribution capabilities and align with the organization's objective. So I think properly done, could be a wonderful tool.
Now I'm coming to a very live question. Do we need a devil of bell cow?
I go first.
Your choice.
So I believe yes, bell curve is necessary, as I said, like connected with what I just said my last sentence, because people in the same position have different capabilities, different talent and all that. So organization does need to really actually kind of evaluate and differentiate, and all of us have this inner desire to differentiate from the others.
But it is a very good system.
So, if everybody is good and once organization reaches that level, whereby they say that now they don't need actually to filter out, then maybe they can discard that. But I think in the beginning, it also, as I said, like.
So you need bell cow.
Yeah, I believe we need bell cow.
So yes, one needs to understand why the bell curve was brought in by the G's of the world. Managers were asked to differentiate, and when the differentiation was not visible, the bell curve was brought in. And it has pretty much continued and has given good results. To me, yes, it is required in organizations where the differentiation still does not exist. I should mention that companies which have done away with it have a very strong differentiation culture already established with them.
But there are companies, they have already moved away. World-renowned names, they have moved away.
Yeah, so that's a factor, that because they have gone into a continuous feedback mechanism and they keep churning out people. It's not that they are continuing with the people. G brought in with the fact that we need to shed weight of 10% every year. And the companies are doing about 4 years.
No, for me, it depends on what is your objective of PMS. Is it only for evaluation and reward and recognition, or it is development, or it is for improvement? If it is for improvement, maybe you have to revamp the entire PMS, not just welcome. So that's the reason why after joining Infosys, Vishal Sikka has tried to bring many changes in the organization, including their performance rating. So it depends what is your objective of PMS. If it is development,
Objective of PMS is
very
decide whether you need bell cow or not.
Yes.
That's another perspective. Yeah, Mr. Nisha.
This is an easy one, and I will not give you the pleasure of snatching the mic from my hand this time. A loud and clear no.
No, you don't need welcome.
You cannot compare.
Here, there is a point. This is a bold statement that you don't need welcome. Can you please elaborate?
And how do you differentiate?
You also don't need.
Exactly. Assuming differentiation is a basic need.
Allow me to elaborate.
Welcome, what do you do? You are giving him a rating. Either A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what you are doing at the end of the year, which most of us are doing 1 year, you are compressing the entire variety and nuance of his experience and his contribution into a single number. And even thinking of it, that may be a little emotional thing, but thinking of it in practical terms, what does a welcome achieve ultimately? You are doing welcome because you will be rewarded, you will promote some people, you will ask some people to go. So the top people who are there, they are not number one. You cannot reward them sufficiently because you have to distribute to the material. Number one. So they are not that happy. Even if you assume that money is the thing which will motivate them to stay or not, which is not at all the case. Second, a lot of people down below are either you ask them to leave or they are stagnating and they are dissatisfied. This welcome performance management system is the enemy of employee engagement. In fact, if you ask anybody in the company, performance management system as it is practiced today by most companies, at least in India, it is the worst today. It is the most unpopular system among employees because of this.
Employee engagement is there, but if the business remains, if your competent people remains, your employee engagement will come. So are you going to satisfy your employee first or the business first?
It depends on vision of the organization. For example, if you talk about
That's a very academic answer.
no, if you talk about
He's a he can afford to answer like that, right?
Yeah.
if you talk about case of HCL, the way they revamp the organization and the entire culture, according to Mr. Beekman, it is employees first, customers next. So you have to decide whether it is employee-centric organization.
In today's cutthroat competition, how many job cuts you see every day in newspaper? If your business remains, your people remains. If your people remains, you are going to make them engaged. If your business does not remain,
So, another perspective is it is not just about people, it is about having right people with right competence. So if you have right people, then only you can survive in the market.
so there are divergent views. We need a welcome with a vision, with an objective, and a clear-cut know that you know your people, it can affect your employee engagement. That brings me to the last question. What could be the scene of PMS in 2020? Looking to today's complexity and changing world so fast, what it could be? Can you visualize?
I think PMS would remain. Maybe it will change, slightly, but overall, as long as people are there and people are not, people don't become robots and people don't become alike, I think the PMS will remain.
Very quickly, Mr. Nehru.
It will be there. We will keep on debating. We will keep on having panel discussions. Only difference it would be a bit more tricky.
In 2020, we will take this topic in convention again.
Absolutely.
It would be different.
According to PwC report, something very important in next 5 years would be introducing and enhancing behavioral competencies. So some companies have, but not all. That is something very important. And second is KRS should be related and linked with your job descriptions and organization goals.
That would be what versus how.
Yeah. Mr. Mishra.
2020 is
किसने देखा?
too soon. No. I don't think it will be different from now, but not much. But I'm sure another 5 years if you add, you will see it in a much more different form. It will be much more individual. Workforce of one. It will be tailored to an individual much more than a group of people.
So thank you very much, panelists. I think we have a very eminent panel. The net is PMS is likely to stay. It may change the face. So HR jobs are secure because we are going to create more complex system. which employers will not be able to understand, employees will find it difficult to understand, and we will try as an HR professional. So thank you very much, Mr. Panelists. And now we have a very limited time for the questions. I'm sure the panelists will do the justice for the various questions.